Namaskara. In this video, let us see how children do multiplication. The primary school students, how they do multiplication, let us see in this video. NCERT has outlined the topics for learning for classes 1 to 5. As you might have noticed, students in class 4 should have learnt simple multiplication perfectly. After this, the same concept is used to multiply larger numbers. In order to make the children understand, assimilate this perfectly, let us outline the guidelines teachers need to use. Multiplication is the easiest form of addition, meaning the shortcut to add numbers. When we do multiplication and view it, we always get a rectangle as a result. In other words, the product or the result that we obtain after multiplication is always a rectangle. Sometimes the rectangle can also be a square. It's possible. Why do children find multiplication difficult? That is because they do not remember this rule, but they end up memorizing the tables. If they memorize the tables and forget the rule of multiplication, then multiplication becomes difficult. Now, let us see how we can excel in multiplication using the learning tools in this mathematics kit. Play and learn, do and understand. Now, let us see to do multiplication, what are the learning tools or the TLMs available to us? Square counters, yellow cubes, these are base 10 cubes, play money of rupee 1, and number line with cloth clips. These are the TLMs that can be used for children in classes 1 and 2. Now, let us see how we can use these learning tools one by one. Let us first use the square counters. Let us make the children play a game. Let me take 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. There are 10 square counters. Let us ask them to make groups of 2. What will happen? 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups, 5 groups. Therefore, if I put all these 5 groups together, what will I get? Let us join this 5, 10. That is, let us teach the children how to make groups of the given numbers. How many groups of 2 can we do? We have seen that. First, we made groups of 2, there were 5 groups. What else can we do? Can we do groups of 5? How many groups did we get? 2 groups. If we join them, 10 again. In the same way, we can use the yellow cubes 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 12 yellow cubes. How many groups can we make? Let us first make groups of 2. When we make groups of 2, how many groups do we get? We got 6 groups. Every group should have equal number of cubes. Can we make groups of 3? Let us see. Yes, we can make groups of 3. Can we make groups of 4? 4, 4, and 4 here. Yes, we can also make groups of 4. Can we make groups of 5? 5 here, 5 here? No, we cannot. Can we make groups of 6? 6 here and 6 here. Yes, we can make groups of 6. Therefore, how can we make groups of 4? How does it look? One group, two groups, and three groups of 4. If we keep it like this, it is 12. Three groups, we join them, becomes 12, and this is how it looks. Now, we can join them in this way: 4, 4 more, and 4 more. This makes 3 groups of 4. Now, let us look at groups of 2. These are groups of 2, 6 groups. When I put it like this, these are 3 groups of 4. If I make 3 groups of 4, it is 12. What is the shape of this formation? It is a rectangle. Now, in how many different ways can I arrange it? When you look at it like this, these are 4 groups of 3. These are 3 groups of 4. This is 4, 8, and 12. Now, the same rectangle can be turned this way. When we look at it like that, we have 4 groups of 3. That is 3 multiplied by 4 and 4 multiplied by 3. They are all 12, and they all look like a rectangle. So, this is what we see when we do multiplication. Here, we used square counters and yellow cubes. Now, the same activity let us do with the number line. What I will do is put a clip after 3 beads. Second group, third group, and the fourth group. There are 12 beads here. I have made them into 4 groups. What is the meaning? One group of 3, two groups of 3, that is 6, 3 groups of 3, that is 9, 4 groups of 3, that is 12. What is this? Can I say it is the table of 3? 3 ones are 3, 3 twos are 6, 3 threes are 9, 3 fours are 12. This is how we can use the number line. This number line has the arrangement of 12 in different ways. This can be shown by multiplication. Let us make groups of 6. So this is one group of 6. This is two groups of 6. But we don't see a rectangle here. What we see is repetitive addition is multiplication. That is, easier way of addition is multiplication. What have we done here? We have added equal numbers. 6 one time, 6 two times, and let us add 6 more here. 6 three times. What will happen? 6, 12, and add 6 more here. 3 sixes make it 18. In this way, using the number line, when we do repeated addition, we can understand multiplication is repeated addition. This is what we can clearly see. But when we used the yellow cubes and the square counters, what we could see was a rectangle. This is how the concrete stage of teaching multiplication, how we can use these TLMs and give them the idea of a concept of multiplication. Now let us see how we can do multiplication using the square counters. These square counters can be dipped in water and then we can stick it on the board. It will stay for about 2 hours if the fan is not on. Now, what we are going to do is 3 multiplied by 4. So, I will stick 3 square counters 4 times. This is the second time. This is the third time. And then this is the fourth time. So, I have exhausted all the 12 square counters. I have done 4 groups of 3. We can write it in this way, right? I began with 3 counters. I arranged it 4 times. What did I get when I do like this? When I arranged it, I got the shape of a rectangle. Is that right? Therefore, instead of arranging 4 times 3, what if I arrange 3 times 4? Let us see. I will arrange 4 squares 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is once. This is the second row, second time. And this is the third row. I have exhausted all my square counters. How many have I arranged? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. How many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Therefore, if I add 3 squares 4 times, or when I multiply 3 by 4, what shape did I get? I had 4 square counters. I arranged them 3 times. What did I get? I multiplied 4 by 3. So whether I multiply 4 by 3 or multiply 3 by 4, on both occasions, we get a rectangle. So this is how, when we teach the children, when we do multiplication using the TLMs and watch it, on both occasions, what we see is a rectangle. When we teach this in an easy way, playing games with the yellow cubes and the square counters, this is how we can show. Let us see, when we do the same activity using play money, how does it look? I will give 3 rupees each to 4 people. This is the second person I am giving. This is the third person, 3 rupees. And 3 rupees to the fourth person. So I had 12 rupees. I have given out that. I have given all 12 rupees to 4 people. 3 rupees each given out to 4 people, 12 rupees. The same will also look like a rectangle. We can see that here. Very clearly we can see. Have the children understood this concept or not? You call them. 18 of you come here. Now you have to stand in rows and columns. How will you stand? We can ask that question. What happens here is, children start thinking, oh, how can we stand? 3 of us can stand, or 4 of us, or 6 of us. What will happen if 6 of us stand? Can we all stand in a single line or in groups? When they start doing it, then they will understand. These activities need not be done using only these TLMs. Not necessary at all. We can give them different activities. For example, they go to prayer, they go to assembly, they will have to stand there. We can ask them to apply their learning there. Have they understood concept of multiplication? Have they understood or not? We can see it clearly. Now let us go to the representational stage or the pictorial stage. Let us see how we can use it in the concept of multiplication. So far, we have done the concrete stage using TLM. We have given them activities. Now, using the square lined book, let us proceed further. This is a transition stage from concrete to the representational stage. This can also be called a pictorial stage because classes 1, 2, and 3, for them, representational stage, they may draw pictures. That is also sufficient. Now, let us make 5 groups of 2 squares as we did before. We used yellow cubes to do this activity earlier. I will draw 2 squares and I will write them 5 times. This is the third group, this is the fourth group, and this is the fifth group. So here I will write 2 and I have done it 5 times. We did the same activity using the number line. How did it look? We made groups of 3. This is the first group of 3. This is the second group of 3. This is the third group of 3. When we do like this, how many groups did we do? We made 3 groups. 3 times. What is the difference between these two? This is 3 one time, 2 times, 3 times. The number that we got was 9. 9 squares. We can arrange 3 times in this way also. This is 3 first set, 3 the second time, and 3 the third time. 3 arranged 3 times or multiplied by 3. How many squares? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 3 multiplied by 3, this is the symbol for multiplication, and this is 3 multiplied by 3 is 9. The same thing when I see here, I arranged 3 times, I got 9. If I do 10 times 3, that would be a very long method. This is a simpler method. So using this method, I can even do 3 multiplied by 10. That would be much simpler. In this manner, the representational stage comes between concrete and abstract stages. This form of teaching will help children transition easily from concrete to abstract form of learning using square notebooks. This is what they will learn. Without limiting ourselves only to the squares, we can do it in a different manner too by using small stars or circles or any shapes within the boxes to help them learn the concept. How many stars are there? 3 here, 4 here, 4 times. So totally how many stars? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is another way of showing the multiplication of 3 and 4. And we see a rectangle. Let us look at 2 multiplied by 5. We are multiplying 2 and 5. We get a rectangle like this. What if I multiply 5 and 2? Let us draw it in this way. We can do the same problem in this way. Here we have 5 and I do it twice. What do I get here? 5, and here it is 2. When I multiply, I get 10. What we can observe here is this is called a row. So I have two rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. These are called columns. In this example, I have two columns and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. So these columns and rows, the children have to know this, only then they will know how we got a rectangle. That is, when we multiply the rows and the columns, when we multiply them, that is what is a rectangle. When they understand this, and there is one more point, if you multiply 2 by 5 or 5 by 2, you get the same answer. This square line exercise will teach them that. Now, let us learn how to teach multiplication using larger numbers, using these TLMs. We were able to learn how to use square counters, yellow cubes, number lines, and 1 rupee play money to teach multiplication. Now, we will see how to use base 10 blocks, have blue rods, yellow cubes, and the green plates. Let us see how to do multiplication using these. Multiplication of two-digit numbers. First, we need to represent 12. How can we do that? Can I use the yellow cubes or blue rods? That is, the better way to represent 12 is, if you use yellow cubes, there will be too many. Hence, we use a group of 10, and this is how 12 is represented. Correct? Now, the next number is 13. So, the given problem is 12 by 13. We have to multiply. So, what is the answer? How do we multiply these two numbers? All other numbers were single digit numbers, and we were getting a rectangle as the product. Here, when we multiply 12 and 13, how do we keep them? If we have to get a rectangle, can we keep it like this? This is 12 and this is 13. What is the answer? There is no answer. So, to get a rectangle, we have to keep one in a row and one as a column. So, first, we have to arrange 12 and 13 in a particular way. This is how we can arrange it. Here, what you have to observe is this 12 and 13 never overlap. They don't overlap. They have to be separate like this. We have seen this while using square counters also. They don't overlap. So even here, we have to follow the same method. This is how we have to arrange it. So therefore, what is the answer? Where do I have it? I have to fill this area to get the answer of 12 multiplied by 13. How do I fill it? If I have to fill it, I have to use the TLMs that are available. So, shall I use these or shall I use these or the blue rods? What can I use to make it quicker, make it faster? A faster solution. So, let us see. If I use the yellow cubes, it will take too much time. I don't even know if I have so many cubes. So, I'm a smart boy. So, I will use the blue rods. Let us look at it. How many have I kept? 2, 3, 4, and 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, Is there some more room? Yes. 10, 11. I have more space left here. So 12, 13, 14. How many rods so far? Let us arrange them and then count them. What is the purpose here? To get a rectangle. Oh, there is some more room here. We keep one more rod. The product should have a rectangle. I have some more space here. I will fill it up using the yellow cubes. When we fill up all this, do we get a rectangle? To get this rectangle, what are the two numbers? This is 12. This is the second number. That is 13. So we multiply 12 and 13. And we got a rectangle. When we started the problem, 12 multiplied by 13, 12 and 13, when we multiply, this is the rectangle. So this is the rectangle got when we multiply 12 and 13. How many blue rods do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 blue rods. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yellow cubes. 15 blue rods would make it 150. 6 units would be 6. So 156. When I have more than 10 blue rods, we have seen it in the bank game. When we have more than 9, what should we do? In the 10th place, there is room for 9. When you get the 10th 10, what should we do? We have to take it to the bank. So, shall we remove it from here? We'll remove 10 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, if we remove these 10 tens and give it to the bank, what do we get? We get a green plate. This has 100 squares. Can we place it here? Instead of the 10 blue rods, we keep one green plate. Therefore, when I started the problem itself, I could have kept the green plate. Instead of keeping all those blue sticks, instead of that, I could have saved that time. What I mean is, when we have a bigger number, we should use bigger TLMs. When we get a rectangle, we should use the bigger plates. Now, a point to be noted here is this part, this 12 and 13, we should not include it in the answer. The answer is this rectangle, but this is a problem. Hope you understand. 13 into 12, when we have these two numbers, the rectangle is the answer, but we should not include the given numbers. This is also called the product. Now, let us do one more problem. The problem is 22 multiplied by 23. We just did 12 and 13. Let us do 22. So, this is 22, correct? Let us see 23. So, this is 23. 23 and 22. How do we arrange it when we multiply? Shall we arrange it like this? Or can we keep 23 like this? This is actually 10. This is not 20 in this problem. This is how we have to keep 23. This is 23. And this one is 22. This is 23. This is 22. Please note the point. This point has to be vacant. What we have to do here, we have to keep one point in mind. When we did the 12 by 13 problem, we used the green plate and understood that it was easier and quicker to solve the problem. So let us follow the same method. We'll start using the green plates here. Our purpose is to fill up this particular rectangle. We have to create this rectangle. One plate and the second one. Can we keep the third one here? No. Let us keep it here. And the fourth one comes here. I have more room left here. Let's fill it up using the blue rods. How many can we keep? 3 here. Oh, I can keep 3 more here. 6 blue rods here. What about this place? We can fill 2 here. And 2 more. We are almost done with the rectangle. I have some more room here. Let me keep the yellow cubes. So, did we get the rectangle? Yes, we got the rectangle, but for what problem? This is 22. This is 23. What we have to observe is, once I get the rectangle, I should separate the given problem, push it a little back. Otherwise, if we keep it together, the children may get confused. What will happen is, they may add the given problem to the rectangle. Let us count it. 100, 200s, 300s, 400s. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So that's 100. So 400 plus 100, 500. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What is the answer? 506. 5 hundreds and 6 units. In this particular problem, how many hundreds are there? When we ask the children, they look at it. There are 4 green plates, so 400. Is that correct? What is your answer? 506. How many hundreds in 506? 5 hundreds. But what we see here is 4 hundreds. That is, the answer is correct, but it is not in the decimal system. How should we bring it to decimal system? How many tens are there in tens? There are 10 tens. In the 10th place, there cannot be more than 9. So, what should we do? We should go to the bank game. There are 6 tens here. And this would be 4. Totally 10 tens. 10 tens would make 100. So, the bank would give me 1 green plate. We keep it here. And this is the answer. But this answer is not in a rectangle. That is because the answer may be a rectangle, but it is not in the decimal system. If we have to use the decimal system, we have to take the help of the bank and then show the answer like this. This is the correct answer. This is because 506, we do not show 10 numbers in the 10th place. So, this is how we show it. This is called a higher order thinking. This is what we call. Children should know this because why 506 cannot be shown as tens, but they have to use 5 hundreds. That is the only way of showing it correctly. So this is how we did 22 multiplied by 23 or 23 multiplied by 22. We solved this problem. Now the same problem, if we can go to higher order thinking, we can challenge the children to do something different. The same problem can be extended with 28 multiplied by 31. So this is 23, 26 here, 28, and then 31. This is 30 and 31. Now, when we do it like this, in one mathematics kit, we have 20 blue rods only. We have 6 green plates, and we'll keep the blue rods. Here, how many blue rods would we require? This is the problem. This is the answer. We have 20 rods, but 7 rods have been used so far. We have used 7. With the remaining blue rods, we cannot fill this place. The yellow cubes are not sufficient. However, in one maths kit, we can do 22 by 23 or 24 multiplied by 23. We can do it till there, but beyond that, the higher number sums cannot be done using these TLMs. Now, multiplication to be shown in the representational stage. How do we do it? 12 by 13, we have seen that in the concrete stage with the base 10 blocks. The same 12 by 13 we can do using the square line book. Let us first show 12. This is the one block of 10 and then 1 unit, 1 unit. Similarly, let us show 13, one block of 10 and then 3 units, 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit. What do we have to do now? We need to complete this particular area. We have to fill up this area. When we fill it up, we get the product of 12 into 13. How do we fill it up? In the concrete form, what did we do? What help did we get? We got the green plate. That is, the green plate, how big is it? It has 100 squares. That is, this 10 and this 10. If we fill up this place, we get 100 squares. One green plate goes into this place. This is 100. And then what did we do? We took a blue rod, that is 10. We kept one more blue rod, another 10. And the third 10 went here. We have some place here. We kept one more 10 here. We kept one more 10 here. How many 10s? 3, 4, 5. 5 10s. What are we left with? Units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 1, 1, 1 and 1. 6 units. How many hundreds do I have? Let us write it here. 100. How many tens? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 tens would make it 50. How many units do we have? 6. Totally, how much do we have? In the 12 multiplied by 13, how many squares? 6, 5, 1. So 156. This is the answer. This is the representational stage. The representational stage. This is what we call it. Now, we have used the square line books to work this out. But if we give them bigger numbers, it will go beyond the square line notebook. So, till they understand the concept, we have to give them small numbers. One more point to be noted is this particular spot should be empty. They should not start writing the 10 from here. The best way is to show them the X mark. The symbol stands for multiplication, so we can teach them that this particular spot should always be reserved for multiply symbol. So, if we teach them like that, the students will not make a mistake and the answer will not be wrong. When we tell the children to fill up this particular rectangle, we can ask them to color the rectangle with different colors or shades. They can shade it like this. From this, they will understand that these are different areas. They can put dots or lines. They can fill it up using different colors. The reason behind it is the teachers call it the area method or the product method. But the students in the second, third, fourth grade wouldn't have learnt area. Therefore, if we tell them this is the area method, they may ask us what is area. Hence, we can tell them that this is a coloring method. So, this is a rectangle. These are different areas. Color with the different colors. So, this will be a fun activity for them. That is much better. Now, let's see from representational stage to the abstract stage. How do we do moving towards abstract stage? First, let us see 12 multiplied by 13. There are two methods to do this in the abstract stage. First method is box method. Let us look at it. 12. How did we get 12 in the concrete stage? We used a block of 10 and then 2 units. Similarly, 13, a blue rod and then 3 units. 2 blocks of 10 and 3 and 2 units. Now, when we multiply, we understand multiplication. Let us see how to do it in the box method. Let us draw boxes in this way. We have to fill up the boxes now. 10 into 10. The answer is 100. We know that. It's a green plate. 10 into 2. When we did 12 by 13, let's look at it. We saw 20. That is 2 tens, 20. 10 into 3 or 3 into 10. We know the answer. 30. 3 into 2. We know that. We know the tables also. 6. What do we do with the numbers? Add them up. We have 120 here, 36 here. What is the total? 6, 5, 1. Let us add the columns 1, 30, and then 26. Let us add these two numbers. We should get 156. So 6 plus 0 is 6, 2 plus 3 is 5, 1 and nothing here. So 1, 156. This is the box method. Why do we call it the box method? Because we draw boxes here and divide the given numbers into smaller numbers and then we multiply. When we multiply, we don't have to remember tables of bigger numbers. That is the advantage. Smaller numbers can be multiplied easily. That is why we get the answer easily. When teaching multiplication to the children, teachers normally give importance to the tables because they think if the children learn the tables well, it will be easy for them to understand multiplication and division. So, how do we learn tables? Let us learn from 1 till 5, 12, 25. The more tables you know, the better for the children. Teachers give very high importance on the learning of tables. This has been the case. Now, how can we learn the tables? Let us start making a table of the tables. Tables would mean we start from 0 and go till 10. We have to learn the tables. Let us see a simpler way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 10. Now, multiplying 0 by 0, the product is 0. I have nothing and I have to multiply by nothing. So that is 0. Now, multiply 0 with 1. I have nothing and I have to multiply by 1. When we multiply 0 and 1, again the product would be nothing, right? So, whatever I do not have, I cannot multiply. So, that is 0. So, if I multiply 0 with anything, then we get 0. Now, take any number and multiply it with 0. That also will be 0. I have 1. If I do not multiply it with anything or with 0, then it becomes 0. So, this entire column will be 0. Now, multiply 1 by 1, that is 1. So, if we go on, multiply 1 with any number, then the product will be always that number. So, that is simple. 1 multiplied by any number is that number. Similarly, any number multiplied by 1 will be the number itself. So, the product is that number which is multiplied with 1. So, we get the same answer in the column. Now, multiply 2 by 2, that is table of 2. 2 3s are 6, 2 4s are 8, 5 times, 6s are 7s are 8s are 9s are 10, 2 10s are 3. What about 3? 3 2s are 6, 3s are 9, 4s are 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, and 30. We can do it column wise also. 5 twos are 10, 6 twos are 12, 7 twos are 14, 8 twos are 16. What is happening here? We are just skipping a number. We can do it this way and that way. Let us continue. 4 threes are 12, 5 threes are 15. The idea is to fill up this particular square. So you can do it in any way. 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. Now, we can observe something special here. These are the given numbers 0 to 10. The curious part of this particular table, there is an interesting fact about this table. Do you see anything interesting when you look at it? Here, if we draw one line this way, so this particular line, look at this square, this line divides it into half. That is, this half and that half. The central line equally divides these two halves. In these two halves, the interesting part is, observe it, this part and that part are the reflections. Do you observe the symmetry? Let us see. 7 fours are 28. 4 sevens are 28. So 28 and 28, 24 and 24, 18 and 18, 10 and 10. They are all the mirror reflections of the numbers on both sides. They match. What is the meaning? When we multiply one number by a second number, the answer is the second number multiplied by the first number. 8 fours are 24 and 4 eights are 8 fours are 32. 4 eights are 32. 32 are, when you multiply A and B, it equals B into A. Another interesting fact is, when you multiply any number with 0, the answer is 0. This is one rule. The same thing applies here. 0 into any number is also 0. The third fact is, when you multiply 1 with any number, the product is the number itself. We have seen that in the row and the column. So, A into 1 is equal to A. 1 into A also equals A. Similarly, any number multiplied by 10, the simpler way of remembering is that number followed by a 0. It is always the truth. Any number multiplied by 10, we get the same number followed by a 0. If you remember these rules, we need not learn the tables by heart. That is not necessary. What we have to learn by heart is, let us see it here. This central line the numbers on this line. The children don't know this concept yet. These are the square numbers. These are all square numbers. 2 2s are 4, 3 3s are 9, 4 4s are 16, and so on. Now, if we learn these numbers, this portion, the square numbers, and this side of the numbers, we know all tables. Children, if you ask them for 5s are, since they would have mugged it up, they would start from the beginning. 4 1s are, 4 2s are, 4 3s are. This will go on. They will again go back to the first number. If we ask them what is 5 4s are, they will again start 5 1s are, 5 2s are. Since they have learnt it by heart, they don't know A into B is equal to B into A. So if we learn through this particular activity, this particular practice, and then with this activity, they can remember the tables in a very easy way. They have to understand table as a rule of multiplication. They don't have to learn all these numbers by heart. 8 3s are 24. That is enough. 3 8s are 24 is automatic. A into B is equal to B into A. So, with this particular tabulation, children will be able to learn multiplication very easily and they may be able to appreciate it. Children should do it on their own. If they do it, they will remember it very easily. We have already seen how to do multiplication with the concrete form using the TLMs. We have used the box method also. Now, let us see how do we do multiplication in the abstract stage. First, let us take the earlier example of 12 multiplied by 13. 12 multiplied by 13. Let us see, we can write this in both ways. 13 by 12 is also correct. But what will be the answer if we write the other way around? We can compare it to the box method and see. Normally, in the concrete stage, before starting multiplication, we have to first show the place value. This is units. These are tens, units and tens. Now, let us multiply. First, we have to multiply the unit to unit. 3 2s are 6 and 3 1s are 3. This is easy. Now, I will multiply from the tens position. Tens position to the units position. So, when I say, I can say 1 into 2 or 10 into 2, that is 20. When we normally do multiplication, we just say 1 2s are 2. But where do we write this 2? Here or somewhere down here? Normally we say we have to write it here. Why should we write it here? We need to think about this. Let us first complete this problem. 1 into 2 is 2, 1 into 1 is 1. But I have multiplied from the 10th position. Why should we keep this particular place empty? Why shouldn't we write anything? When we ask this question to children or to teachers, we get different answers. We can leave it empty, or we can write an X mark here, or we can write a plus, or we can write a 0 also. 0 or a plus mark or an empty space. So, what should the children learn? It becomes a multiple choice question. If we give them so many options, what will be the right way? Why should we make that option available to children? Which one is correct? When we multiply from 10, this is 20. We can say that, right? Therefore, what should we do after this? We have to add it 6, 3 plus 2 is 5, and 1. There can be a question here. The teachers or the children may ask this. 10 twos are 20, but 10 tens are 100. How do we write it? For that, let us do the same problem in an expanded way, and let us see if we get the same answer. I'll write it down. 12 into 13 units, tens, units, tens. Now we have to do it according to the place value. 3 twos are 6. Now from units, I am multiplying the tens position. 3 tens are 30. See, when I multiply each number, I will write it down here. 10 twos are 20. This is 10th position. It is not 1. This is 10. So 10 twos are 20. 10 tens are 100. Now, let us see what is the answer. 0 plus 6 is 6. 3 plus 2 is 5. 1. When we did it with this method, the problem in this method, in both these methods, 20 plus 100, 120. We wrote it in a simplified way. 30 plus 6, 36. We simplified it here. We have simplified a particular step. We have jumped it, that's all. This particular step we have not considered. We have directly written 36. When we say like this, children will understand why we should write a 0 in this particular position. They will understand it very easily. Let us do one more example. Let us take a bigger number. Let us say 22 multiplied by 23. Let us make it 122 just to see what happens if we have a hundreds position. Let us write the place values: units, tens, and 100. First, we multiply the units to units. 3 twos are 6. Units to tens. 3 into 20 is 60. 3 into 100 is 300. 20 into 2, 40. 20 into 20 is 400. 20 into 100 is 2000. Now look at all these zeros. When we multiply from a 10th position, we write the 0 here. And when we multiply by 100, we write the 0 here. If we show the importance of the 0 and why we should write it here, they will understand it easily. Let us add it and see. 6 and 4 is 10. 1 we carry over. 3, 4 and 8. 2. This is the answer. What do we see here is, when we multiply from a tens position, the 0 comes here, and when we multiply from 100 position, the 0 comes here. So this is multiplication in the abstract form. We did addition and subtraction from the unit position. Why should we do multiplication from the unit position? Why not from the tens position? What is the answer for this question? Let us look at a real life situation. There are 2345 boxes in a room. I have to move these boxes from one room to the other. I have to transfer them from here to there. How do I do it easily? Should I take one by one or should I make a bundle of 10? If I make boxes of 10, it becomes 200 bundles. Can I make a bundle of 100? Then I will have 23 bundles. What if I do? Then 23 bundles will be there. What if I make a bundle of 1000 boxes? I will have just 2 bundles. That is, when we do multiplication, we have to do it from the units. Make a bundle of units, we make a bundle of tens, and then we make a bundle of hundreds, and then we make a bundle of thousands. This problem becomes simple. We get a simple way out. When we have 2 bundles of 1000, it is difficult to carry it because it may be heavy. If it is too heavy, we may have to make 23 bundles, 2345. If we have to take one by one, it will take a lot of time. That is why we have to make a bundle of tens and hundreds and thousands. That will be easy. In this way, all multiplication starts with units, moves to tens, hundreds, and moves on to the next higher place. How to use multiplication in our day-to-day life? Let us see that. Once we understand the concept, how do we apply this concept in day-to-day life? Let us look at it. First, bigger quantity. That is scale up. If one guest needs 3 idlis in a function, if there are 25 guests, how many idlis do I need to prepare? If we give them a context, how many idlis would be sufficient to serve 25 guests? Further, in my office, there are 30 people working. I have to give everyone 500 rupees bonus. How much money should I have? Next, before serving afternoon lunch, we have to give 100 ml milk to each student. And if we have 150 students, how much milk do we need? If I have to paint a wall, 10 milliliter of paint can be used to paint 100 square feet. Therefore, to paint 1000 square feet of wall, how much paint would I require? This way, we can scale it up. I know the small quantity. How do I scale it up? The second thing is gradually increasing the numbers. We have seen an example. 2345 chairs need to be moved from one room to the other. Is it better to make a bundle of 100? Or is it better to make a group of thousands or groups of 10? What grouping would make it easy for us to move? In the same way, in this hall, we have 435 chairs which have to be moved to another hall. Would it be easier if we make it into groups of 50? If we do, how many groups of 50? It will be 8 groups. Is it better to take 8 times or is it better to make groups of 100 so that we can only shift 4 times? So this way, we can push them into thinking. We have to make them think. Another example is when we observe, when we think. 12 students have to stand in rows and columns. How can they stand? How can they stand? How many can stand in a row and how many in a column? They have to visualize it. They have to think how they can stand in rows and columns. 1200 square feet of land is available. Should we buy it or not? 1200 square feet is mentioned. We start thinking, in what way could it be 1200 square feet? Is it 1 foot by 1200 feet? Should I buy it that way? Or should it be 30 feet by 40 feet? Then I should buy. That is, that particular thought or imagination, we need to think about the shape. That will be possible only when I know multiplication. The same thing can be used in measurement. If 1 dozen bananas and there are 36 people, how many dozens of bananas do we need? Then we should know what is a dozen. For feeding 100 people, we need 10 kgs rice. Therefore, for feeding 1000 people, how many kgs of rice do we need? Or 30 by 40, what is the total square feet or square inches are available? When we teach multiplication, we need to give examples from everyday life. What do they do? We have to give such examples. Only then concepts will be appreciated. Oh, right. Because I have learnt this, I have been able to solve the problem from my daily life. This is what they think. Therefore, for all practice purposes, all the activities, we need to make it relevant to the everyday life. Only then multiplication will be easy. In multiplication, children and teachers both have some misconceptions. That is, teachers, what are the misconceptions that teachers have? Let us see that first. We call this misunderstanding also. The misconceptions and misunderstanding. What are they? Firstly, when we multiply from the 10th or the hundreds place, should we put a plus or a zero or an into sign or some other blank? This is a big confusion. The answer, there are many answers to that. We have seen the right answer. It is better to put a zero. Secondly, the definition of multiplication, the related vocabulary to multiplication, such as the introduction to, even before introducing the concept, this is a multiplier, this is a multiplicand. What the children feel is, I'm learning multiplication for the first time, but I have to learn so many more words. It leads to a fear. Hence, it is better to use the words only after they get the clarity of concept and fluency of procedure. Then use these words. Thirdly, how multiplication can be done fast. That is, speed. Speed is everything in mathematics. If we tell them that, if we give importance to speed, what happens is multiplication can be done this way, lattice method, Vedic method. There are many more such methods. They have not learnt even a single method, but we have taught them 3 other methods. Without the conceptual clarity, we have given them multiple procedures. it will only increase their confusion. Now, what are the misconceptions in the children? If we look at that, they are almost the same as in teachers. Whether to put a zero or a plus mark when I multiply from a tens place, and what is a multiplicand and a multiplier. Giving more importance to this vocabulary is actually unnecessary because A into B is equal to B into A. Whatever is the problem, the result will be the same. This might be necessary to use when we ask word problems. However, it is not necessary to find the answer. And children, when they want to do the basic operations of mathematics faster, quickly, they can use calculator for everything. That is, if you have to do everything fast, let us use the calculator. For all these methods and all that are necessary to understand the concept. It is important to understand the concept first. After understanding everything, use the calculator. But if you use the calculator without understanding the concept, we are out to use a method without knowing the concept. Now, when we learnt multiplication, how to do multiplication? Multiplication is a simplified way of addition. In our imagination, this is a rectangle. And lastly, when we have to learn multiplication, we need to understand the concept first, and then we need to think about the procedural fluency. After everything, the concept of multiplication, the vocabulary related to that, we need to understand a product, a multiplicand. All these definitions we have taught the children. Multiplication has to be a part of our everyday life. What are the benefits for other operations if we learn multiplication? Thank you.